What up, y'all? It's your boy Blake Anthony, host of Sports Talk49. We got some breaking news right out of Tampa Bay. They finally get their offensive coordinator, Zab Robinson, offensive coordinator out of Atlanta Falcons for the past 2 seasons under Raheem Morris. And there's been a lot of chatter, everybody, they were all waiting in Tampa for who's offensive coordinator is going to be for the fifth year in a row. So let's break down a little bit what I've learned about Zach Robinson. I know everybody, it's just so funny. It's just funny how people change what they say so fast and so quick, like they knew from the beginning. And it's just hilarious to watch all of that happen in just a short period of time. That's why I just enjoy and I laugh and I troll. And it's because it's just funny to watch how people literally say one thing. Then the second something else happens, you act like you was on that train the entire time. It's just hilarious out here in Tampa. That's why I troll. So let's break down a little bit what I got on Zach Robinson. So who is Zach Robinson? Zach Robinson, NFL coach, former quarterback born in 1986, who was climbed the coaching ranks since retiring as a player. So he did play in the league. His coaching resume: played at Oklahoma State, spent a few years in NFL as a journeyman quarterback, began coaching with Los Angeles Rams 2019 to 2023. Assistant QB coach, assistant wide receiver coach, and then pass game coordinator and QB coach, which is probably the era on around Baker was there. Offensive coordinator of the Falcons 2024 to 2025 under Raheem Morris. Scheme and background: Robinson comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree, having worked on McVay's staff in LA, which emphasizes timing-based passing, concepts, motion, and play action. So that means you're going to have to find a running back to run the ball. Known as a pass game architect and QB developer. I've said it before. They need to find a future quarterback. You could get this. I'm on the train for Ty Simpson if the pick becomes available at that point. Ty Simpson, and I can't think of who the other one is. Oh, the kid out of Vanderbilt, Pavia. Who the background QB developer with the background design and play calling and passing concepts. Track record and offensive coordinator. 2024 to 25, in his first season as offensive coordinator, Atlanta Falcons offense was 6th in total yards and 5th in passing yards per game, helping Kirk Cousins put up strong numbers. Some critics labeled his play calling predictable or lacking adjustments, especially when the offense stalled through others credit situational content and talent issues. Weaknesses: per some analysis, questions about in-game adaptability and having a clear second look plan when initial scripts stagnant, which they don't work. So he's saying he has trouble when the original plan, he's having trouble making adjustments coming into if there's some issues in your game plan. Because sometimes I've talked to like Ben Jarvis and those guys, like with Tom Brady. I'll just use that as an example because he played quarterback in Tampa. He would make they would make drive to drive adjustments instead of just waiting to halftime to make adjustments. He's going to have to, I guess that's an area he's going to have to get better at. We'll go into the history of Baker Mayfield. Robinson and Baker Mayfield already have a history together with their time spent in Los Angeles, much like Liam Cohen. In 2022. In 2022, Robinson was the Rams pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach, which means he worked close with Baker. The same period, Mayfield was signed off waivers and asked to start late in the season. Mayfield's memorable 98-yard touchdown drive against the Raiders came with Robinson's coaching him at quarterback, a standout moment in Mayfield's career resurgence. In those 5 games with Robinson guiding the offense, Mayfield completed 82 of 129 passes for 850 yards and 4 touchdowns, a solid short sample. This prior familiarity is widely cited as a reason the Buccaneers pursued Robinson. And we'll go into a little bit of the core responsibility, philosophy, and McVay's tree DNA. Zach Robinson is a structure-first play caller, which they say is players over plays. His offense is designed to simplify reads for the QB, manipulate defense preset, which means motions, create define throwing windows, which motions are creating passing lanes. Let the QB play fast, not hesitant. This is not a freelance QB offense. It's rhythm, timing, and sequencing. We'll go into the formations and structures, how it plays for certain players and things like that, and we'll go in that. So you're going to see condensed splits, which wide receiver, which like bunch, quads, bunch, and things like that, which means that the receivers will be tighter together. Forces defenses to clear coverage, creates natural pick routes and crossing concepts. So when you have tight formations, it crosses up crossing lanes and things like that. So what it means is like bunch formations to create spacing and everything. So I came up with something to show you. Like you're gonna see bunches like that, and everything won't be in that same variation. You might have your tight end down here, but you're trying to create passing lanes, like he said, creating concepts to get people open. So it's just basic stuff. So you just see you're trying to create that, creating spacing. So like when you run this route, does the defender bail back to come under that? Do you hit that? Does the defender got to go over top? Creating which he can come and get into the inside and get under that. Tight end coming inside, curling up, running a wheel behind the coverage to kind of pick wide receivers off. This is just a small sample size, but you're going to see like bunch formations like that. It could be a running back at that position like that. You're going to see several variations of that in the offense, running pick routes and things like that. And that's what they were very good at. Cooper Kupp made a living off it, the rub routes and stuff. And that's what Rams have done for years, is just creating pick routes, switching up leverages, because that's pretty much what you want the receiver to beat the defender inside in order to make catches. And it's a pick routes and motion and getting the defenders out of place. And the players are going to have to pay attention and do their assignment. You can't be selfish and just try to get yourself open on a play that wasn't designed for you to get open. And that's a lot of football. And that's why you see disconnects in offenses and things like that, where you hear the words, you got to pay attention to details and things like that. That's what they mean in those situations, because everybody has a role to play in that offense, especially like that. It could be a very high power offense if you run it correctly, if you do your assignment, do your job. And the Bucs have the players on the offense to run it, especially if you get everybody coming back. If you want to re-sign Mike, you want to go get another receiver. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a deep play. Baker Mayfield, I've come to realize, is not a deep thrower. And that's fine. And that's totally fine. So he's more of a West Coast kind of guy to make those reads, scramble, and find the open guy. You got to make the offense work to fit his skill set. That's what it is. And the key part, as I said it before, stay healthy, Baker Mayfield. Don't take unnecessary hits. You have a long season. I hope last season would have showed you to not take unnecessary hits to help you long-term in the game and help your team and your ability to help your team when they need you, when the big games are happening. So let me finish breaking down what I said. I got a train of thought there. I just wanted to show y'all what it would look like. Perfect fits for Godwin in traffic, motioning receivers into favorable matchups, which we just kind of explained. Heavy motion pre-snap, at snap, jet motion, orbit motion, shift snap. What it means for Baker, identifying man versus zone because of the motioning, slows down pass rush because you get the ball out your hand fast. Gives Baker answers before the ball is snapped. What they said earlier, the defense is forced to show you what coverages they're in. Now, be careful if I'm a defensive coordinator and you're running those tight sets close to the line of scrimmage, I'm going to send a defensive back to blitz off of the edges, so you're going to have to find the open man in those situations. The offense should help Baker's confidence and to play confident and not react, which should you be proactive instead of reactive, if that makes more sense to you. The passing game identity, primary concepts for Robinson loves, like I just told you, crosses, over routes, deep digs, flood concepts, levels, play actioning, seam shots. This fits Tampa because Baker throws well on the run, intermediate timing routes. Evans dominates on deep overs and posts because of positioning. Godwin thrives on option routes and digs. That's what his specialty is. Expect fewer isolations, like just win situations, and more design separation. Again, it's schemed on leverage. Mike Evans' role would be boundary X, which means outside the hash marks, deep overs, post off play actions, and read zone fades, back shoulder throws. What he's especially at in Devontae Adams type role like that. Robinson won't force feed him, but Evans will eat when defenders cheat the middle of the field, which means there's nobody to slide over to help. Godwin's role would be this is where Robinson shines, shift heavy usage. You're going to see Cooper Kupp and Chris Godwin, that kind of role. If you remember Cooper Kupp when he was playing really, really well, you're going to see those kind of routes. Stop, back outside, sit down, then shift and come back out. Those kind of routes, that's what you're going to see. Motion into slot heavy usage, motion into mismatches, option routes versus linebackers, middle of the field weapon. Godwin specializes in all that, contested catch. His run game philosophy, and this is going to be critical. Robinson's run game, wide zones. I think Sean Tucker is very good at that. I don't think White will come back as long as you keep Bucky, but I think zone runs is really good with Sean Tucker is good at. He's got the speed to get out there. Duo, double blocks to the next level, outside stretch, run to set up, play action, and not dominate. So yeah, just to run, they're going to run the ball to set up play actions. Going to have to get a tight end, especially if they're going to attack the middle of the field. You're going to have to get maybe not a beast at tight end, but you need to get somebody. Use Cope. I think Cope is going to shine this year. I think this is the year Cope shines. He has the speed and the ability to run these routes and do all that. Man, use that dude. Use him. The run doesn't have to be elite. It has to be respected. That's it, because of the play action. This helps Baker because play action freezes the linebackers, opens the intermediate windows, which he loves. That's the area he loves. So that's what I got on Zab Robinson. I tried to give you guys a good breakdown versus what you're going to hear on the radio. What everybody's going to do right now in Tampa is act like they knew it was happening from the beginning and they had no fucking clue. That's all everybody's doing right now. Oh, well, I want them to sit on their podcast and, it fits. Zab Robinson fits perfectly into Tampa's offense. Oh, he has familiarity with Baker. And, I think this will be great. I think it's a slam dunk. You didn't say that shit days ago. You was on the Mike McDaniels train. Mike McDaniels or bust, baby. Mike McDaniels, that's got to be it. And then you don't get him. Oh, well, they let McDaniels out and they didn't sign him. And now they're going to get the garbage offensive coordinators and they're not going to get anybody. Shut up. Like I told you before, I trash these mainstream media people, man, is they don't have a damn clue. Been covering this team for years and don't have a damn clue. A damn clue. But y'all listen to them. But y'all won't listen to me, and I'll say the same things as the four-letter networks say. I'll say the same things as the pro analysts and who is a NFL insider. I'll say the same exact thing. Only difference is they don't look like me. But that's a conversation for another time. I just want to throw that in there. But it's just funny that how all that happens. And then you really don't have a clue. And then now they push it out, like you see, now you're pushing the narratives that, well, this is who Baker wanted from the beginning. Well, why didn't you just sign him? Why would you go after McDaniels or perceive to go after the front runner McDaniels, front running to be Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator? That man had no intentions in coming here. Only people sold that shit were the people that cover this team. And then Todd Monken. You had Todd Monken here years ago. Y'all ran him out of here. And then he goes to somewhere else and be successful. Back to what I said before. You have coaches on your roster already, and you let them leave to get a legacy somewhere else. Tomlin, McVay, Todd Monken. the the list goes on. Hell, if you want to count Liam, you want to count Canales. The list continues to go on. You have guys already. And they leave to go somewhere else. Now you want Monken back. I tell you, kiss my ass if I was Monken, which he probably did. Went right on with Harbaugh. Shit, Harbaugh believed me. I went right on back with the guy who believed me. I wouldn't come back here. And that's the issue that I keep preaching. Like, you guys think like I'm trying to, maybe it's the way I'm saying it. I do come off aggressive sometimes, and it may seem like I'm being a negative Nancy and things like that. My frustration comes from, and this is the truth, my frustration comes from the people that cover this team for years, and they don't know shit. It's based on their personal feelings, not facts. That's why you're going to hear me. I'm not going to say it all 2026, based on facts, not emotional responses. That's going to be my answer for all 2026. You're going to hear me say that over and over. And they lure y'all to believe and be ignorant to things that aren't true. It's based off their narratives. That's the part that frustrates me, and I become so aggressive and stuff like that because it's irritating because y'all just regurgitate the garbage that they tell y'all. Remember, these guys that work for agencies, they have to say what they're told to say. They have to do that, or they won't have a job. That's how that works. Y'all know that. Y'all all know that when it comes to politics and things like that, and the news networks are on. Think this ain't the same thing with these guys? So when they got to push a narrative, they got to push a narrative. Just like Buffalo. They're going to protect their business. So when the fans were coming at them about firing McDermott, you think they're going to come at their own business so they can hurt the image of their business? They're going to trash McDermott and Keon Coleman. And Keon Coleman needs to get the hell out of there too, because they basically said you ain't shit. But we're not talking about the Bills right now. I'm just trying to give you an example of people are going to protect themselves because they got a business to run. And that's the point I'm trying to make. But you got a guy that Baker can work with and is familiar with Baker. So that should have been the pick to begin with. Hey, how do you feel? Hey, Baker, how do you feel about this guy? You think he can do that? You think he can help you ascend this year? I know last year you had a lot of injuries. Can he help you ascend? And that's what that should have been your guy from the beginning. Yeah, I get it. You want to do your due diligence. You want to look and talk to Harbaugh and do all that. I told y'all from the beginning, Harbaugh's going to go somewhere where he can walk right in and don't have to do much work. Because Harbaugh don't call plays. He don't call offense. He don't call defense. He's not a specialty in anything. He's just a motivator of men. You probably heard that word somewhere on the 4-letter network. A motivator of men. Like people like Pete Carroll's a motivator of men. Mike Tomlin, a motivator of men. So, those are those caliber of coaches. And, you got guys like Bowles and McVay and those guys, they're coordinators that became coaches, so they can still do that and want to teach in their philosophies like that. So that's the difference between the coaches and stuff like that. Hopefully you can get Robinson for maybe a couple years. Baker's going to need this. And it kind of helps Baker because Baker's coming to his last year of his 3 years extension. The Bucs, and you said you got a guy who's a quarterback coach. You need to go get a quarterback. You don't need to be trying to be cheap and have a backup quarterback. So if Baker does need to rest, you have a guy that can keep the ship going. You got to start thinking like that, Jason Light. You've been cheap for far too long picking from the thrift shop. It is time to open that wallet and do what you need to do, bruh. Because your ass is on the hot seat too. Nobody else asked, why isn't Jason Light commenting? You haven't heard a peep out of him, right? You know why you haven't heard from Jason Light? Because he's responsible for a lot of the mess that's on that defense. Now, he should, like them, come out and support Todd Bowles. Todd took a back seat. You're probably going to hear it at some point. Todd took a back seat to the offense because we knew we had to score points. Or he might have said this at one point, but you're going to hear it. Todd didn't take a back seat to the offense because we knew he had to score points in this league. So we took whatever we could get on defense, and we went with that. And I think we maxed out the ability of the players that we got, and we got to make some changes. That's really all you got to say to these people in Tampa because it's the truth. I tell this all the time. Where are all your stars on this roster? They're all on offense. And in a sense, Bowles and Light are right. We do got to score. You don't want to look like the Houston Texans. You don't want to look like who's the other one that kept getting turnovers and couldn't score. Tip of my head, tip of my tongue, can't get it out. But you don't want to be those guys that are going to amount 5 and 6 turnovers, and you can't put any points on the board, and then you still lose. You shouldn't be losing any game where you're getting 5 and 6 turnovers a game. Absolutely not. You got teams that you cost the game off for 1 turnover, let alone 5 and 6, and you still can't win. So your offense is set up for success, right? Y'all got to load up on the defense. Got to load up on it. I ain't saying spend top dollars. Get the guys that are going to make impact plays. I said last year, cried to the cows come home. Please trade a 3rd-round pick for Danielle Hunter from Minnesota. And then he got 16 sacks leaving this last year in the season, dominant off the edge with Will Anderson. And that's kind of like what you did for JPP. That would have been your JPP pick in 2025. If you'd have traded Jason Light, if you'd have traded that 3rd-round pick for Danielle Hunter last year, when I said it 1,000 times, you know, the Buck experts, oh, no, you don't want him. He's washed up. Man, shut your ass up. I told you, a lot of you guys don't have a damn clue what the hell you're talking about. And that would have been your JPP pick. He's still under 30. There's still plenty in the tank. And that would have helped the defensive line immensely last year. But it's in the past. Now you got to find the next thing. You got to move on to find the next thing. It would have been a late round pick too. 3rd-round pick. That would have been well worth it. You got your end that's going to perform. You could have got another guy. You could have drafted a tight end maybe at the picks or got it whatever best defensive player at that time. You could have gotten that if you'd have gotten that last year. But no use crying over spilled milk. It's done. It's done. My point was, Jason Light, you share some of that responsibility too. You sat on your hands in the trade deadline. I get it. People, man, you could have had Jordan Phillips. You sat on your hands. But I thought if Vita was going to get one, it should have been Danielle Hunter. My, that would have been very nice at that point. That's what I got. I try to give y'all a great breakdown of Zab Robinson. Probably better than you can get anywhere else. I know I'm not a big name network. I know I've been around football, coached, and played for a long time. I tend to know what I'm talking about. And if I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. I tend to be a lot right most of the time. Am I over the board? Am I overboard sometimes? It's because I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about it. You can say things and be critical, but still have their back. That's just kind of where I'm at. I want people to see things at face value, what they are, and then try to see if this team can get the things that they need to see, and then, just comment and stuff on that. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's what I got. And we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Thank you guys. God bless. And as always, fire those cannons. See y'all next time. Peace.